the first comment, just to make sure we've got good audio and video and you guys can see and hear me okay, and then we'll get rolling. Don't have my pad today. It's very cold also. Bit of a last minute thing. There wasn't a lot of warning for this one because I realized I missed the previous one. Well, the previous day, just things got away from me, a little bit too busy. So we're here a day later than normal for the live lesson. But yeah, I'll just wait for a comment just to see if anybody is out there, if everyone can see and hear me okay. Check my metronome. Gonna stay at 60 today. So we started at 50 on live lesson 1, which is really slow. We went up to 55 for live lesson 2, and then 60. We're going to stay at 60 today, just to let you know. Hello. Yeah, finally get to see you live. All right, so I'm assuming we've got good audio, we've got good video, we're ready to go. This is the fourth live lesson I've done, and fourth live lesson I've done, and I have called this Foundation on purpose because this is just real basics. But that's not to say that, you know, we should skip the basics, or if we've been playing a long time, it's a good idea just to skip basics and not worry about them. It's always good to revisit them. And I'm really grateful being a teacher that I constantly have to revisit these basics. I actually made a checklist over breakfast. Just trying to read those comments while I'm talking to you. I made a bit of a checklist over breakfast of things that we've already covered in the first 3 live lessons, because this can start getting away from you real quick and you can start to get a little bit overwhelmed in terminology. So just to recap, we've covered singles, single stroke roll. That's just when your hands are alternating, right, left, doubles. Doubles are right, left, and just continuous flow of right, left. You're doubling on each side. We did paradiddles, also known as a single paradiddle. Now that is basically a combination of singles and doubles. Right, left, left. Now one thing I didn't mention when we covered those is what I see a lot with people doing paradiddles, even people who've practiced them for a long time, they play the double at a different rate of speed than the singles. So I see this a lot. As a teacher, I see this a lot. Paradiddle. That's not a paradiddle. That is something weird that we don't want to go near. Okay, we need the notes to all be even. It doesn't matter what the tempo is, the speed is, but the notes do need to be evenly spaced. So with a paradiddle, we don't want this. It has to be even. That is a paradiddle. Okay, now those first 3 patterns or stickings, those are what we call rudiments. That is another term that you will hear me mention over and over on the channel. So already we've got a lot of terminology, we've got a lot of stuff that can be misunderstood. So just clarifying. Okay, then we had 2 exercises utilizing our rudiments. Okay, the first one was a continuous flow from singles through to doubles, through to paradiddles, and then cycling back to the start and carrying on again. So that was something like this: singles, 2, 3, 4, doubles, paradiddle, singles. Now the idea there is that you can change patterns. You've got enough headroom, you've got enough facility to be able to change a sticking or a hand-to-hand pattern without disrupting the time flow. Good. Then we had another exercise where that was the subdivision exercise, and that was just the easiest way I can think of to get you practically playing subdivisions and understanding subdivisions. Now that exercise, we just used the single stroke roll, the first rudiment you learnt with me. Now the subdivision exercise, again, a term that you'll hear me just talk over and over about on the channel, subdivisions. So using singles, we were going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, back to quarter notes. Which leads us into 3 other things that you learned. This is all in the first 3 lessons. It's so much stuff. That was quarter notes, 8th notes, and 16th notes. Now, really, really important. Do not pass go unless you understand this. Subdivisions are tied to the same tempo. Now, what I mean by that, if this is our tempo, this is 60 BPM. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter notes. 2, 3, 4. 8th notes. 3 and 4 and 16th. Quarters. 8ths. The click, the metronome, the outsourced time or tempo didn't change. So this is just such a big thing. It might be easy for some people to grasp, not easy for others. I find with students, it really is not a simple concept to grasp. The tempo, the BPM hasn't changed. What I'm playing changes. The pattern hasn't even changed. I'm still playing singles. It's just all that's changing here is the subdivision, the rate of notes within the tempo. We can get back to more on that if we need to. Quarter notes. That's where I'm doing 1 hit per click. So I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4. 8th notes. That's where I'm doing 2 hits per click. Or think of this, within a count of 4, I'm doing 8 notes. What we can't do when we are counting music, we can't do this. We can't go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1. Yeah, those are 8th notes because I did 8 of them. It doesn't really work like that. Because there weren't 8 clicks. It needs to be related back to the outsourced tempo or time. And then with 16th notes, we're doing 16 hits in the space of 4 clicks. Or you could think of 16th notes as 4 hits per click. So 16th notes, 1, 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. It's actually a lot of stuff. So if you've really paid attention on the first 3 lessons, you will already have a pretty good idea of some of these basic building blocks and what I talk about a lot on the channel. So hit me with any questions because don't feel silly. I mean, as simple as this might appear, it can be very confusing. What's the word for hitting a different drum every note again? Oh, okay, yeah, linear. Yeah, that's a little bit beyond the scope of a beginner series, but linear sort of refers to hitting one thing at a time, which you might go, hitting one thing at a time? Yeah, that's what we're doing. Not really. Often we're hitting 2 things together. So with a basic drum beat, bass drum and hi-hat, or hi-hat and snare. not linear. If you went bass drum hi-hat, the 21 Pilots song Heathens is a good example of this, where there might be like bass boom boom. It's not solid eighth notes throughout. Leaving space in between the bass, hi-hat, snare. Boom, jum, ja, boom, jum, ja, 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 boom, ja, jum. Everything's at a different, in its own place within the bar, if that makes sense. Oh, you've got me off track there. Okay, easily done with me. Easily done. Now, what we were going to look at today was left hand lead. So we're going to stay on target, stay on target. Left hand lead is basically leading with your left hand, or for most people, their non-dominant hand. There's a really important reason for this. It can feel, I guess, to the outside like, what's the point? Why learn everything again? If you've learned it once, you can just use that right hand dominant hand every time. You can do, it just doesn't sound very good, because you end up basically accenting and chasing the metronome like a target. So I talked a lot about this on the last one, about how you can play to a click and make it sound really bad, or you can play to a click and make it sound really good. Now if I chase this click, that's me really probably looking quite weird and really attempting to chase the click. It didn't sound smooth, it didn't sound comfortable. If you were watching that in a performance and you were sitting in the crowd, you'd be going, and it would just sound tense. Whereas if you can get into the zone and just flow through subdivisions like this, try. So there I'm not really chasing it, and if I chase and try and target those clicks, I'm more likely to accent them, which is going to create like a bit of an uneven sound. Accents are great when we want them. They're not great when we're just constantly accenting the right and just sort of hammering that right every time. Let's go back to the very first exercise we learned, which was single stroke roll. We're going to play it at 60 BPM. But we're going to lead on our left hand. These are 16th notes, by the way. So here we go. 2, 3, 4. Left, 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 left. 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and Don't have my timer. Single stroke roll. Left hand lead. Should be a good brain workout if you're just starting out. Left, 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 left. I'm actually thinking left. If you are a right-handed person like me, you'll do a lot of things, I guess, without even thinking with your right hand. You'll open doors with your right, you'll brush your teeth with your right, and everything's just going to feel more comfortable in your right. So we sort of need to give the left a little bit of love when it comes to drums. Let's go to doubles. Now remember, doubles are right, right, left, left, right, right, left, left. Or in this case, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. Still 16th notes. Our subdivision is still 16th notes. Here we go. 2, 3, and a 4, E, and a left. Left, left, right, right, left, left, right, right. And a 2, and a 3, and a Now I got into a nice little zone there at one point where I was what we call burying the metronome. That's basically where you're just, I don't know how to describe it, it's just, yeah, you're burying the metronome. It's not like you can't hear it anymore, it's still there, but you're landing on it. It's just effortlessly falling on the click. Not doing a great job of it here. I mean, this is a live lesson. I'm aware that I'm live streaming to the internet and probably a little bit self-conscious about it, but it's a nice feeling. What you're going for here is trying to bury the metronome. Let's do the same thing with our paradiddles. We're going to start on the left. Obviously paradiddles do flip, they mirror themselves, but we're going to start it at least on the left. 2, 3, 4. Left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right. Left, left, left. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. And here we've also got the issue of I don't have my timer. I'm not setting a minute for each exercise. So I will be, in my experience as a teacher, I will be undercutting that minute. Really important to use a timer. I strongly recommend using a timer for a lot of stuff. If there's an important stretch of work you need to do, maybe you've got an assignment to do for a school or something, set a timer for like 50 minutes or whatever time you know you can concentrate for. Just set it and just go for it within that amount of time. It really, really helps. Okay, the other exercise that we got up to, the subdivision exercise, before that, the continuous exercise through our rudiments. Now this is where we go singles for a bar, doubles for a bar, paradiddles for a bar, but it's continuous. And we're going to do this left hand lead. Here we go. 2, 3, 4. Singles, doubles, paradiddle, 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 singles, paradiddle, 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 singles. Now, if you really have only just started doing drumming with me on these live lessons, and remember these lessons are for people who don't have a drum kit and for people who don't even have sticks. It's for absolute beginners. I'm really aware there's a lot of people who watch my channel who are not drummers. This is for you. or it's for people who want to essentially start again in a way and learn about those terminology things that they're like bouncing around in there, but they're not, it hasn't solidified and it's not all making total sense yet. And there's one real way to do that is just by repetition, constantly going over and over, throwing the terminology at you over and over and over from different angles, and eventually you're going to go, ah, that connects to that, oh, and those work together, and yeah, it will make sense. Okay, now I guess the most complicated exercise we've done so far, or the most complicated thing we've done so far, was the subdivision exercise. Now this is where we were just doing singles, and we're doing 1 bar of quarter notes, 1 bar of eighth notes, 1 bar of 16th notes. Today we're going to do left hand lead on this. Here we go. 2, 3, 4 quarters. 1, 2, 3, 4 eighth notes. 16ths. Quarters. 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And on and on. You should really be doing that for longer than what I'm just doing there. And yeah, happy to do a few questions if anyone's got any. But already, if you think about this, at this point, if you're a beginner and you're only doing what I'm telling you to do, as of today, your daily practice should be at least 10 minutes. You should be, if we're talking about right hand lead, you should be going through your singles, going through your doubles, going through your paradiddles. That's 3 minutes. Then you do the exercise where you cycle through the whole lot, 4 minutes. That's another minute. Then you're going to do that right hand lead single subdivision, another minute, so that's 5. Then you do the whole thing left hand lead. So that's going to be another 5 minutes. Already, you have a solid 10-minute workout that you know you need to do every day. You can change the tempo, of course. I would keep it slow. I would think of a slow metronome as a magnifying glass. It's actually easier to play fast because it masks your accuracy. Now, I can hear where I'm off. Like I said before, a little bit of nerves possibly doing a live thing. But I can hear when I'm not landing right on the metronome or burying the metronome. It's really obvious to me. I can hear it instantly. Always talk to my drummer buddies around town about how you can hear a great drummer. It's so quick. You know, a bar. Within that, I can hear it. Okay, my name is Matt. Just want you to know I love your channel big time. Hey, Matt, I've been drumming 20 years. Ooh, snare height. That's a good question. Now, yeah, again, this might be a little bit out of the scope of a beginner session. That is a very, very smart question. Snare height, should it be related to, you know, where you're hitting your knees? And yeah, I would think of, you know, I think of grip and technique like throwing a ball. So that's basically molar. And if you were throwing a ball, but you're kind of doing molar technique there. Now, if you transfer to that to how you play the drums, there's a natural point where the stroke has stopped and you're sort of perhaps losing velocity or losing momentum. So I would think of it like throwing, and that would be roughly my height. We're doing our best here with no sticks on our legs, but yeah, that's a very smart question. I honestly don't think a lot about ergonomics and technique a lot. I just go with what feels natural. You know, obviously if you're feeling pain, if you did like 30-40 minutes on the kit and you got a sore back, something's probably not right, and you can look into it. For me, if it's not broke, you know, don't fix it. I wouldn't overthink it too much. Just a nice natural height. You know, you get great drummers who sit really high or sit really low. Height's all different. So yeah, it's dangerous following trends or following your favorite drummer, because, you know, even if they look really cool, it's not you. It might not ergonomically fit you. But yeah, just to answer that really smart question, just like a natural point where, like, for me, it's roughly the same every time. And that's where I would position my my snare on my pad. I wonder if there's any more questions. I think I don't want to misquote anyone, I think I saw something pop up before about, am I too old, or is there a thing about being too old to learn the drums? Absolutely not. I think it would be a really valuable exercise for someone who's later on in life, purely just for the brain mechanics side of it. And, you know, possibly don't even need a kit. You know, if you're just doing these exercises purely as a brain thing, perhaps you're doing these exercises in the hopes of understanding some of the terminology that I'm always spouting on about. That's really valuable too. You know, you're just learning more stuff, and that's always good. But definitely not. There's also a myth that kids are better than adults. I've been teaching a long time. I've taught a lot of people. It's not really true. Kids have got less ego, and, you know, they're not as inhibited in what they're doing. That's definitely true. I've definitely found that. Adults seem to have a little bit of a barrier, like they don't want to look silly at a lesson, which I totally understand. So I teach adults differently to children, but they're not necessarily worse or better. It just depends on the student. One consistent thing I do find, which is interesting, is I find, especially at that younger age, probably 10 onwards, I find female students are a lot, better's a strong word in this case, better students, I'll put it that way. A lot of this is just listening and doing. I've given you some pretty clear instructions up to this point. I want you to practice your singles for a minute, practice your doubles for a minute, paradiddles for a minute. This is every day. Do all of them as a you know, like a circuit for a minute. Do your subdivision exercise for a minute. Cool. See you next week. You know, because most of my one-on-one lessons are weekly. And if you do that, if you listen and you do as you're told, I guess, you'll be surprised at how fast you progress. It's when things go a little bit off the rails. It's when people try and get a little bit too clever. Oh, I saw this over here on YouTube, but this guy's doing this. You don't want to run before you can walk. It's really valuable to take your time, view this as a long-term thing. You're not going to be Buddy Rich or Achilles Priester or, I don't know, Eric and Proda. You're not going to be that guy in a month. Don't compare yourself to Toyota. Andrew Patrick. Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, like that whole young drummer thing as well. There's a lot of myth and misconception around that. Yoyoka, Nandi, fantastic. amazing, inspiring. So many drummers, young and old. Don't overlook the work. Don't overestimate talent. It's just, you know, these really young girls, they've been playing a long time. You know, they might have been playing 5, 6, 7 years. Although they're 11, 6 years on the drums is a long time. If you start now and have a long-term mindset of 6 years, you're going to be amazing. You'll be surprised at how good you could get in that time frame if you listen and if you're in a supportive environment. Another thing that is just huge, if you really want to get good, which obviously we all want to get good, you get good from playing. You don't get good, you don't get great from practicing. Practicing sets you up to be able to play, and when you're playing, when you're in the zone, preferably with other people, human beings, where you're getting feedback in the moment, that is where you improve. I heard Jojo Mayer say that at a clinic, actually. Something along the lines of, you don't get good from practicing, you get good from playing. That's not to say that practicing is unimportant. Of course, you need that. You need that foundation. But if you really want to step it up, you have to play with people. People are what are going to push you. They hold you accountable. You might think for example, you know, people will talk bad about Dave Grohl or Phil Rudd or any drummer. People are going to critique them and say, oh, she's not very good. I can play Back in Black. I can play Come As You Are. Easy. Get up on a stage with a really good band, you'll find out, oh, I can't play those songs. Not to the level that the other musicians expect. There's just far too many elements to underestimate how these guys play and the sound they achieve, the time feel, the authority. Again, it can be within a bar or two that you hear that a player's really good. For me, I can hear it instantly. I'm not saying I'm special. I've just been around drums a long time. It's instant. You'll see on the videos that I review or react to, sometimes I'll just a big grin pretty much straight away. And I'm just, wow. You know, what's one of those that was really noticeable? The Opeth one was one where I was just, whoa, this is heavy. And this drummer, the song's great, of course, but the drumming is just so in the pocket, it's undeniable. Now, we could extract the drum part from that Opeth song and learn it on our kit at home, play along, go, that song was easy, I can do that. Yeah, but you're not at Red Rocks in front of however many thousand people in Opeth, playing live with adrenaline, where they're expecting a certain volume, a certain consistency, a certain authority. It's really different. Well, that was a long rant. What else we got? We got any other questions? I've seen a few pop up, so apologies if I missed the question. The original question there, never too late to start learning the drums. Don't let anyone ever tell you that. That's just garbage. And it can depend on your goals too. So I had a middle-aged lady come to me a few years back, and she just wanted to learn Don't Stop Believing, because her and her friends were going to Vegas, and they had basically organized for her to get up with a certain band at their hotel, and she was going to surprise them by playing Don't Stop Believing. And her friends were amazed. She was amazed that she learnt the song so quickly, and that's great. She was surprised that she sort of learnt the song within 2 or 3 lessons from scratch. But yeah, hey, we did miss out some of the orchestrations on the right hand around the toms, but yeah, she did a good job. So it's all relevant to your goals, of course. if you're 60 or 70 years old and you're just dead set on on being the next Virgil Donati, okay, that's a hard road, because to get to that Virgil level you need to push yourself so much and become drum monk that it's unlikely at that age you're going to have that much energy and the opportunity to play with other world-class musicians. So, you might reevaluate your goals in that point and go for something else. It's not to say you can't play live or do gigs. It's just up to your goals and being reasonable and being accountable to a teacher. Don't underestimate being accountable to a teacher. It's crucial. All right, we're going to wrap up real soon. Any final requests? This lesson was supposed to be all about left hand lead, where we just start with our left hand as opposed to our normally dominant right. So yeah, maybe on the next lesson I'll recap exactly what our workout should be at this point. So remember, you've supposedly started from scratch, started from no knowledge at all, and we're built up to a 10-minute drum workout with no pad, no kit, not even sticks. It is also, though, the 4th week of live lessons, so if you've come this far, I would suggest getting some sticks and perhaps a practice pad, if not a kit. At least some sticks, so you can start to feel, I don't even have any sticks handy in the room, so you can get used to what they feel like. All of these exercises we're doing with our hands on our knee, they're going to be easier with sticks because you're going to get rebound. No rebound there. With a stick, it's going to come back up. So things will get easier with sticks. All right, I'm going to sign off. Anyone else? Thank you for joining me on the live lesson. These lessons are of course free. So if you do want to help me out, you can just subscribe, share the word. All right, I'm going to sign off now. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you on the next video, which is tomorrow. Ooh, you know what? You've joined me on this lesson. I'm going to give you an inside scoop on tomorrow's video. Mike Mangini, Alien. See you there.